Hello, everyone, and here we are back at the Thrive Tribe table. Do you see how good I'm getting at that?
You're getting very good at that.
I'm Megan Scheibner. This is my co-host, Dr. Steve Scheibner, and this week we're going to continue on. It's part 2 of terrific.
What language is that?
I don't know. It's a mix. It's Megan language, right?
Okay.
Of terrific toddlers. It's a real thing.
It is a real thing.
Yeah. So do you want to just kind of remind us what we talked about last week?
Okay, so in the last episode, very exciting, we talked about toddlers, and we talked about routines, right, mostly, and how routines build security. And it wasn't just toddler routines. We did talk about how to get your toddler into a routine and the importance of that. But I think the emphasis was mom's structure and routine. If the mom's getting up before the kids, if mom's got a plan for the day, and preferably a written plan for the day is going to go a whole lot better, and the kids are going to be much more secure, and you're going to have less trouble with the terrible twos.
Exactly.
Fair to say that?
Exactly.
Yep.
We're giving up spontaneity for the sake. It's for the children.
It is for the children.
Yes.
And so last time we talked about the general picture of routine, both for mom and the toddler. Let's drill down now and get a little bit more specific in this one.
Okay, so this week we want to talk about 2 other areas that really build security with our kids. And the first is responsibilities.
Right.
And believe it or not, toddlers can have responsibilities that are theirs, that they own.
Yeah.
And then the second is one that kind of gets overlooked, and it's the relationships and how the security of relationships in the home really help our toddlers be successful. And again, when our toddlers are successful, the whole family will thrive.
So before you get into what do toddler responsibilities look like, I want to talk to moms just for a minute, because if you say, oh, they're just so little, I don't think they could have any responsibilities or any routines, what you do is you rob them of the character development that comes from insisting that they do it themselves. Because I understand this. If you have 1 child or just 2 children, maybe at the most 3, you can live life for 2 or 3 kids. You can pick up after them. You can make their bed. You can put their toys away. You can do all that stuff. Don't do it. Insist that they do it.
Absolutely.
Right? By insisting that they do it, they get the character development. And I know it seems like a chore at first. It is. It's going to be a lot of work. But once they get it, they got it.
Yeah.
And it makes your life a lot easier in the long run. So let's talk about responsibilities.
There's really a natural dynamic that God has set up, which is, I'm 58. I don't ever say, I'm 58 and a half. I don't want to be older. I don't mind, but I don't really want to be older. Your toddlers, they want to be older. And so you're really playing into that strength of older kids have responsibilities. When you're old enough, you'll have this responsibility, right? Every toddler is 2.5, 3.5, 4.5.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah, this year you're talking about and a half. This is the first year for me in probably about 55 years that I used and a half, because I turned 59 and a half.
Yeah,
and you know what that means? I can draw from my 401k without taking a penalty. Oh, my word.
I thought it meant, I'm not quite 60.
No, it's horrible, But it is a milestone. All right. Anyways, back to our topic of toddlers.
Yes. Okay.
Responsibilities.
So toddler responsibilities. Your little ones can do so much more than you think. And we've touched on this in a couple awesome kids, but we really want to nail it down here. If everyone else in the house has chores, your toddlers need to have chores too. And moms, it just means you have to think creatively. So what are things a toddler could do? Well, as soon as they can carry a trash can and empty it into the bigger trash can without putting it on their head, they're ready for that, right? Toddlers can put away their own toys. Toddlers can brush their own teeth.
Do not put the garbage can on your head.
Yeah.
Right.
Toddlers can wipe down. Wet wipes are an amazing thing.
Wet wipes are
Toddlers
cool.
can clean a lot of things with wet wipes. Doorknobs, the baseboard around the bottom, windowsills. There are jobs that toddlers can do.
They can put the silverware on the table.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Now, there are some things they shouldn't do.
The fine china.
The fine china. I often see, I've been at friends' houses. How's that, general enough?
Yes, it is.
Where their toddlers were standing on the counter putting dishes away. That's not a safe job.
No.
Think through it in a health and safety way. Think through the things your toddlers are doing. I hate sharing this story, but our pediatrician, who is a brilliant man, had 2 children in his practice that lost eyes because they were putting dishes into the dishwasher. It's not a good job for a toddler. Toddlers are, because they are small and they haven't filled out yet, they're clumsy.
Right.
That's why they fall all the time. And he had 2 children that fell into a dishwasher helping out and lost eyes.
Those prongs stick up. Now, it's a graphic picture.
It is.
But mom and dad, you might think, oh, well, it's right at their level. They could help. That's one job you really don't want to do, because if they trip, then they go face down. It's like running with a pair of scissors. Right. And we all know that's wrong.
We don't ever want to give a toddler a job that there could be a permanent negative consequence for it. But there are lots of jobs that toddlers can do, and they thrive with jobs. They thrive. Every child in the family feels more a part of the family unit when they have a job that is theirs.
Okay, excellent. So those are some responsibilities for toddlers. Can toddlers really be a help? or is it just to kind of give them something to do,
like a placebo?
Like a placebo.
We have a chore placebo for you
like
today.
When I played football, they'd always say to me, "Hey, Scheibner, here's your route. Go down and out of the way." Is that what this is all about?
No, it is not what it's all about. You know what? Kids are really perceptive, even toddlers and preschoolers.
Can we talk about my tragic sports career? Can we
hit that on
just for a little while? How misunderstood I was, and 2 left feet, and
honey, it's not your fault.
Always getting picked last was very difficult for me. I have to say, You wouldn't know this because you were always the captain of the other team, and you picked first.
I'm sorry. So can toddlers really be a help? Don't rip your toddlers off by giving them jobs that don't matter, right? We want our toddlers to know that the jobs they're doing make a difference in the family. There are jobs that if it never got done, no big deal. We want to give them jobs that we can say, wow, that's a hard job for me to do, or nobody else did that job and you did it.
They could whisk the crumbs off the seats.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. We want them to take ownership of jobs that make a difference. And then we want to reward them when they do well, and not necessarily, maybe, but not necessarily reward them for how well done the task is, but for the character and attitude that went into it. When they show persistence in a job that is not pleasant, or diligence to, you didn't remind them to do their chore of the day and they came to you and said, Mommy, I whisked all the crumbs off the seat. We want to reward that. And and if you watch Awesome Kids all the time this week, we're going to show you a great way to reward your kids. How's that for a teaser? But go to, when it posts this week, watch Awesome Kids all the time, and you're going to have great ideas for how to reward those positive character qualities, not just in your toddlers, but in this Thrive Tribe, we're talking about your toddlers. So look for their attitude in the job, when they stick with it, when they're cheerful. Sometimes
when they don't whine.
Sometimes our toddlers embrace chores 200% better than our teenagers, and we ought to reward that. They can have some peer pressure on the teenager. Strange to think, but when we say to our teenager, do you see how cheerfully she's doing her job?
Yeah, the 4-year-old did that. With a better attitude than you. So
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe your bedtime should be the same as the 4-year-old.
It's the 4-year-old, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. Okay, let's talk about relationships. What are appropriate, or what type of relationships, I guess, is a better question, can toddlers have?
Well, I think sometimes we're too intent on having relationships out of the home. The real secure relationships for toddlers are in the home, and we wouldn't be good teachers if we didn't meddle a little bit. And so, moms, I want to really encourage you to think through your play dates, your coffee get-togethers, the times you're getting children together that are under the umbrella of, well, we just want them to build friendships. And really, it's more about moms getting together. Be careful. Be careful about that time, because sometimes our kids need that, but not as often as we do it. The real security in relationships comes in the home. So the first area is our toddlers don't ever need to see the strife between mom and dad. Right. They don't. None of our kids really should, but for toddlers, that is a fearful thing, because they don't have any way to process mommy and daddy are going to be okay again in 15 minutes. For them, their world is based on, does mommy love daddy? Does daddy love mommy? Right? And for you single moms, that's not an indictment on you. That's not saying, or dads, it's not saying your children can't be secure. You're going to have that relationship with the Lord. And honestly, I don't think you're going to have that strife with the Lord that we have in a physical relationship. But they need to see the security of the relationships in their home. And they need to know that they're an important part of the family team. That's the relationship that builds security, much more so than friendships outside the home.
So be discerning on those, because not not all other little toddlers are created equal. And I'm not saying this is a tough one because you want your kids to socialize, but you also have to be discerning on that. If your kid's coming home and all of a sudden your 4-year-old's playing with matches, right? You go, where did you pick that up? Right? Well, they learned it from another kid maybe. Or your kid comes home and says, Mommy, what's a bong? And you go, you go where did you, where did you get that?
Yeah.
And so, have an ear, and maybe you avoid some of those.
Well, let me build on that just a little bit and evaluate your own toddler, because sometimes our toddlers are the ones that are teaching bad things. Ooh. Don't always think it's the other toddler that taught your precious child. Sometimes the attitudes, the actions, the behaviors that our toddlers are modeling are negative. But there have been friendships that I dearly love the other woman, but we realized our toddlers together did nothing good for each other. Right. And so we had to make sure our friendship was outside the toddler realm. And
you have to look into what your toddlers are feeding on. I think that's hugely important, because we use these things nowadays as a babysitter. All right, and the kids are watching one video after another, and you know what? It works to pacify them, but they're also ingesting everything that comes through this device. So again, be discerning and
for
careful. For
security, that doesn't give them the security.
No, it doesn't.
A phone and TV doesn't.
That's not routine.
Intimate family relationships do.
Okay, good. That's good on routines or relationships, right? Now, how can older kids get involved with helping with the toddlers?
Okay, so sometimes kind of the atmosphere in the home is toddlers are just an annoyance. We have our youngest son who had no toddlers. Yeah, who had no toddlers under him. Now we have grandchildren, and his common statement is, toddlers are short and sticky, right?
Yes,
because he didn't grow up with toddlers.
He walks around like this all the time, like, they're just sticky.
But it's really important to build those relationships, and there are some really sweet relationships among our 8 children, because we were so purposeful having the older kids involved with the toddlers, which wasn't take that toddler and go watch TV with them, go babysit them. It was using the gifts that our older kids had for them to invest in their younger siblings. Right. So our oldest daughter loved to read aloud. She read aloud to the toddlers. Our son, the filmmaker, from the time he was young, he set up sets and plays, and we're making a movie.
And the kids were the actors,
right? And he used the toddlers. Our daughter, who is the chef, she cooked from an early age, and she would bake cookies with the younger toddlers. There's natural things they're gifted at. And we helped our older kids kind of think through it. Well, what are your natural giftings? How could you teach those to your younger siblings? And then I made sure during the day, now we were homeschoolers, so this also helped our homeschooling. That's the beauty of homeschooling. Yeah, that I would say for 30 minutes, you're not doing school right now. You're going to take your little brother, your little sister, and go look at your list of things you can do and choose something to do with them. Now, I had oversight, and I checked in, and I applauded effort, but they were the ones that were investing in the younger siblings. And now what we've seen as they've gotten older is there's times that our kids don't come to us for counsel. They go to an older sibling because they've built that relationship. They have the security of their family relationship.
Okay, great. That's good stuff.
Yeah.
So let's wrap this one up, because I think we're kind of getting to a good place to bring the landing gear down and bring this one in for a landing. So how would you sum up then the specifics about routine with toddlers?
So routine shows up in their responsibilities and their relationships. Make sure their responsibilities are ones that they are age appropriate for them. Help them learn to do it excellently and to own it as their own. You
don't always do it for them.
That's your job. Wow, you did great. Reward them for good attitudes and for progress as they get better and better at their jobs. And then really focus on the relationships with your toddlers. They're not an addendum to their family.
Right.
They're not a tag along to the rest of the kids. They are just as important, deserve the same respect that every other member of the family does. And so they're not an interference, they're our ministry.
Right. Okay. That's excellent. We've got a resource over there. Why don't you reach over and grab that? You're going to go off camera just for a second, but I want you to bring over the toddler toolbox and just talk about that for a second, because we want you to be able to go deeper. And at the end of every Thrive Tribe, we always say, if you want more, go to the store, characterhealth.store. They're going to find this in there. What is the toddler toolbox?
Well, it's interesting because our 9 practices covers every age, but toddlers really are specific. They have specific needs. And if we try and parent them like we're parenting a teenager or a 9-year-old, we're going to miss it.
Right.
So the toddler toolbox is everything to do with toddlers.
Right.
Every aspect, physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
Right.
Of
And
how
that
to
goes
teach
much
them.
more in depth
Yeah,
than
way more
the 12
in
or
depth.
15 minutes we're going to spend here, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
at the store, and again, we want to provide resources that help you be successful. We want your toddlers to be successful for sure.
This has been a great part too. I appreciate all this from you. All right.
Thanks.
So you want to wrap it up? It's your show.
Sure. Well, I'm Megan Scheibner. This has been Thrive Tribe. This is my host,
Dr. Steve Scheibner.
and we'll see you next time at the Thrive Tribe table.
Well, thanks for watching that clip on YouTube. Remember to like and subscribe so that you don't miss any of our weekly content. See you soon.